On today's episode of I Told You So, Miss Caitlin had off because, we were running errands all day. And she went to Sam's Club. And I didn't tell Matt this because I just got it in my text an hour ago and we haven't talked about it. But you know what she found at Sam's Club? In like a multitude of colors. Juicy Couture velvet pants. It was probably like 3 months ago that I said Juicy Couture was going to come in and they were going to come in hot. Velvet pants were going to come in and they were going to come in hot. Then I got y'all velvet pants. I told you, I'm telling you, I'm pretty good at this. I'm pretty good at judging future fashion. I might not wear it, but I'm pretty good at it. So, told you, velvet pants, they're back, baby. Another thing that I would like to discuss is homeschool, because I know a lot of people are very confused by homeschool. And bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So basically, guys, everybody homeschools differently and everybody follows a completely different homeschool program. Some homeschool programs are more rigorous. Some are a little more hands-on. Some are more like on the computer, stuff like that. The boys have they have two separate programs. So Miss Caitlin does Time for Learning with them for language arts and math. But then for social studies and science, she found that she didn't really love it. We tried, what was it? Power Homeschool?
Power Homeschool, Alllll, right?
Alllll. We didn't love those either. So Miss Caitlin found a book. Like, it's not online. It's just like a book. I don't know where she got it. I'm assuming a teacher store. But she got them a book and they follow whatever social studies and science program that she has. Now, they're on the same level just because right now in social studies, like at their ages, they're learning a lot of the things that we've already experienced in person, luckily. So, they go through countries and yada, yada, and states and all, they already know all of that. So she's teaching them both at that 5th grade level. And same thing with science. They do a lot of STEM projects, a lot of things about the environment, but because of that, it cuts down on, I don't want to say time of learning, but time of learning, right? Like in school, there's so many extra things. Matt's sightseeing. That's what you hear, that beeping, because we drove over into another lane because he's sightseeing. But there's so many extra things that students are doing in school that aren't necessary to do with homeschool when you're having one-on-one instruction. So I'm not saying that, teachers are having kids do unnecessary things, because that's not the case. They, you know what I mean? But they also have 30 to 40 students in a class and can't be teaching them at the same level that, homeschooled kids with one, you know what I mean? Could you imagine if there were only like 10 students in every class? Like, a lot more would be done a lot quicker. So, and there would have to be a lot less, I guess, what's the word, like reinforcement, right? So with homeschool, they don't need that. They also don't need homework unless obviously they're struggling with something. We need to review the task at hand quite a few times. Anyway, a typical school day takes about 3-4 hours, but we break it up. And in the next few videos, I'll talk about kind of what hours we do what and how we break it up. So basically, Miss Caitlin comes at 9. We take our time. We have breakfast. Goes till 10. Sometimes we'll watch Let's Make a Deal until 11. It really depends. Then Miss Caitlin gets started on, sometimes they do cursive and spelling.
Cursive and spelling first.
They do cursive and spelling first. And then what do you do after cursive and spelling?
Time for learning.
And then they do time for learning. Both language arts and math?
Yes, both on language arts and math.
And then
Science and social studies.
well, then you typically take your lunch break. Because at that point, it's usually like 12:30, 1 o'clock. They get a lunch break. They kind of chill. If it's nice out, we'll go to the beach, or they'll ride bikes outside or do chalk, whatever. That takes until about 1:30 to 2:30. Then at that point, they'll pick up on social studies and science, which will take them to about 4:30. And then whatever Miss Caitlin feels like they should review, you know what I mean? She'll kind of review that in that half hour. So what are we learning? A total of maybe 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
Would you 4 hours a day. Now, kids are in school for 6 to 7 hours a day, but a lot of that is, electives, gym, lunch, recess, switching classes, bathroom breaks, independent work time, stuff like that. So it kind of just cuts out all of that and really focuses on just learning. Whereas traditional kids go to school for only how many months out of the year would you say?
9.
Like 9 months out of the year after the breaks and stuff. Our kids school all year. So our kids do not get a summer break. So if they take off a week here, a week there, or a random Thursday, or like today, a random Wednesday, it's like literally not the end of the world. It's not detrimental. It's not, or anything to their learning because they literally school all year. So while your kids are getting off for two and a half months over the summer, our kids are still schooling. And the nice thing about homeschooling is you don't have to cram it all in that 7 to 3 hour day, because they could go home like this morning, for instance. Oh my God, what are you doing? Careful. Nobody knows how to drive. Thank God you started beeping because it alerted that guy to stop. They did cursive and spelling this morning.
Cursive and spelling.
This morning, super early, before Miss Caitlin would even show up. And they can finish, if they wanted to, what they needed to do on time for learning at night, or they could do it on a Saturday, or they could do it on a Sunday, or they could just wait, because they school all year long. There's no, none of that time crunch necessarily for them. Grayson wanted to add something. Go ahead.
And while we're gonna be on the Disney cruise, we also learn facts.
Right.
So it's also schooling.
Right. What do you learn sometimes on a Disney cruise? Go ahead.
Did you know that Snow White was one of the first movies to come out of Disney?
No.
Well,
What do you learn when you're on a cruise? Where do you learn? When we get off at ports and stuff, or what?
Yeah. We learn stuff like when we get off cruises.
Where? Give some examples.
Like in Greece, our euro is like lamb, but there they have chicken and beef.
They also have pork.
Yeah, they
And
also have pork.
the fries, they put potatoes instead of fries.
They're called, fried potatoes.
Fried potatoes.
Did you learn anything else in Greece?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My mind's just blank right now.
Me too. Me too.
My mind's just blank right
I'm
now.
Where-
trying to think of
Where are
everything.
some places that we went in Greece?
Oh, Athens.
What was in Athens?
Parthenon.
The Parthenon, right?
Mhm.
And what trees were growing around the Parthenon?
Olive, because Athena and Poseidon, the god of water, and the god of there,
Goddess.
the goddess of there,
Mhm.
made a deal, and they planted an olive tree.
Oh, well, it's not surprising. The god of water.
And you two sat under it while you were cooling down from the sun.
We did. It was very hot. It was very hot. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things. Our kids are very different in a sense that they learn hands-on. When we go places, for instance, like in Alaska, right, Matt?
Yeah.
They learn so many different things in Alaska.
Oh, I know one thing
What?
about Alaska.
But
That the salmon have to swim upstream, so they made ladders for it. So they made ramps for them to swim up, because there are lots of bumps. So they made a little path for it's smoother, and it's just a sidewalk going up, so they could swim through that.
Grayson, can you name the 5 types of salmon?
Can I say 2 facts?
Yes.
Okay, first is the 5 types of salmon. You have thumb for your thumb,
Mm-hmm.
sockeye because you can put somebody in the eye with your pointer finger,
Mhm.
king because it's the tallest, ring finger, and pinky. And when
Wait, ring?
yeah, I mean
Silver.
pink.
Silver.
Yes,
Silver. Okay.
Sorry. And what was I gonna say again? Yes. And when salmon make their babies,
They they die.
themselves to death.
And then do they die?
Yeah.
Yeah, they swim themselves literally to death.
There we go.
Poor salmon. Thank God I'm not a salmon. I'd be dead twice. No, but so they learn a bunch of different things along the way, and I'm sure, I'm not saying that people who send their kids to school don't, but I'm sure you guys can understand the value of learning while you're out and about, especially to people who do send their kids to public school. When their kids do go out with them and stuff, they're learning a ton. When the kids go grocery shopping, they're learning about money and percentages and
Where the food came
I
from.
have an example.
where the food came from.
Remember at the gate dolphin, I learned about interest.
He did. He learned about
Yes.
interest. Good job, buddy. So it's just very, homeschool is like the same, but very different. Like it's a different, like kind of, I guess, time management, right? So
I learned the 2 biggest squids.
they learn just as much as public school kids. Where did you learn about the 2 biggest squids?
Well, it was in my Who Would Win book.
Who would win book? Where did we see that massive squid thing?
Bermuda.
In Bermuda.
That one was a giant squid.
What thing?
That giant squid thing that was in that aquarium that we were in.
Right
Oh
above us.
yeah, it was a giant one.
And now I got a squid.
And now he got a squid. That's what he's been sticking in the background of the video the entire time. Another thing about homeschooling is you don't get a break from your kids.
Yeah.
They get to annoy you all day long.
It's such a fun for your kids.
No, but seriously. So, I mean, I know a lot of people get confused because they're like, well, they're not in school. Like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter, because I don't say that about your kids when they're out during summer break doing whatever they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
It's kind of like the same. We school our year. We get like small breaks, and they school like, and they get bigger breaks,
yeah,
and they have to school for a longer period of time when we get like small breaks.
that you school for a longer period of time
Yeah.
because you get small breaks, but they school for a shorter period of time because they get long breaks, right?
So it's kind of like the same.
So like next week, when the kids are in school, you're going to be off of school. And then you're off of school for like, what, 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Where most kids only get a week off, but
We're learning.
they get 2.5 months off. Yeah, and we are going to be learning. We're going to go to the zoo, and
Oh, and we're also going to be swimming with stingrays.
we are swimming with stingrays on our Disney cruise.
Oh,
But-
when we went to Ripley's Aquarium.
So just to clear that up, I have one more video that I need to make, and I can't remember what it is about, but I'll have to go. I wrote a note about it. I'll have to go in my notes and check, but there you have it. Heard it here first. Speaking of homeschooling and kids not going to school traditional hours, there was a lady in Target who is severely annoyed that there were children in Target during her shopping hours in the middle of the day. She was so mad. The kids and I were walking, like, going into the dollar section, and we were walking on like one side of the, I call it the road. We were walking on one side of the road. She was walking on the other side of the road. And when she came out, Matt was still behind us because he had the cart, so he obviously wasn't going to try and squeeze down. You know, the dollar section is tiny. And she started, what did she shook, she rolled her eyes and shook her head. And Matt was like, is there a problem? Did my kids do something wrong? She's like, what? He's like, well, you were rolling your eyes and shaking your heads at them. She's like, no, nope. Like, people need to get a grip. Kids are allowed to be in Target at 1 o'clock, okay?
I saw someone with